Hello, thank you for clicking on this video today. I want to share with you my favorite political philosophy written by a Buddhist monk. It can simply be called Dhammic Socialism or Buddhist Socialism. Today I will start by reading you the pretext for this study, and later on we will delve into the ideology itself. So for now, relax and listen to me read. Dhammic Socialism. Dhammic Socialism might be rendered simply as Buddhist Socialism. I have chosen to use the anglicized version of the Theravada Buddhist term, Dhamma, for 3 reasons. 1. The term reflects the language of the Thai monk whose political philosophy is the focus of this discussion. 2. It is an expression other liberal Thai Buddhist thinkers either use or are sympathetic toward. 3. The title serves as a self-conscious contrast with a considerable amount of scholarship in the 1960s on Buddhist socialism. The following essay is not an extension of that discussion, but focuses specifically on the work of this monk as it pertains to the subject of Dhammic socialism within the context of contemporary Thai Buddhism. Before embarking on this task, however, a brief examination of Buddhist socialism, on the one hand, and the contemporary Thai religious situation, on the other, is in order. Buddhist Socialism. Buddhist socialism as an ideology and a political program came to the fore in the Buddhist cultures of Asia at the end of the colonial era and beginning of the modern Asian nation-state, roughly speaking, in the 2 decades following the end of World War II. As an ideology, it was indebted to the Buddhist understanding of the world and the meaning of human existence, as to many of the liberal democratic ideals of the West. As a political and economic program, it reflected Western socialist egalitarian ideals of production and distribution of wealth. It was, in short, a syncretic marriage of varying elements from Buddhism and Western political philosophies by Asian leaders who, for the most part, had either been educated in the West or under a Western educational system. In the Theravada Buddhist cultures of Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, the most prominent political leaders espousing the rhetoric of Buddhist socialism were SWRD, who became the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in 1958 on a platform of Buddhist socialism. UNU, the Prime Minister of Burma from 1948 to 1962, and the Prince in Cambodia during the 1950s and 60s until his overthrow as a consequence of America's misguided policy in Indochina. It has been argued that the rhetoric of Buddhist socialism espoused by these leaders had more symbolic value than substantive meaning. While that may be true, in general, Buddhist socialism can be characterized as an attempt to integrate a sense of cultural, national identity represented by Buddhism as an organized religion and a spiritual value into the political and economic structures and programs of the modern West. UNU, for example, believed that a national community could come into being in Burma only if individuals were enabled to overcome their self-acquisitive interests. The state should guarantee sufficient material needs for everyone. The 4 Buddhist requisites of food, shelter, clothing, and medicine should minimize class and property distinctions attendant with the colonial period, and should encourage all citizens to strive for moral and mental perfection. In short, the state was to meet the material needs of the people, and Buddhism their spiritual needs. Buddhist socialism has, to be sure, not been limited to just Theravada cultures. Buddhist leaders during the Vietnam War used this language, and the head of the Soka Gakkai movement in Japan and founder of the Komito political party has characterized his political philosophy as Buddhist socialism. During the 1960s, when the language of Buddhist socialism was on the lips of various Buddhist political leaders, Western scholars devoted a considerable amount of attention to this subject. There was and continues to be studies on the relationship between the classical ideals of Buddhist kingship and modern political leaders of the Buddhist socialism stripe, as well as interpretations of various aspects of Buddhism as a vehicle of political legitimation in both historical and modern periods. To my knowledge, however, work has not been done on a Buddhist thinker who has evolved a theory of Buddhist socialism specifically out of Buddhist categories, rather than a somewhat superficial amalgam of Western political philosophy and Buddhism. This essay represents a preliminary attempt in that direction, an analysis of the religio-political philosophy of Thailand's most creative, controversial, and significant Buddhist thinker. Now that I have read you the pretext for Dhammic socialism, I hope that you'll join me in my next video where we delve into the ideology itself. And in the meantime, I highly recommend reading this PDF yourself. All you have to do is Google Dhammic socialism, and it should be the first result. Please feel free to read along with me as I continue this video series. Thank you for listening.